welcome back to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball jointed doll and craft related content. Today I have an interview with a really talented, really awesome artist. This is Sadie from MaddyBearDolls. Hi Sadie. So you have a pre-order that's opening up today on March 14th. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so this is actually a pre-order that's opening for, if you follow my Instagram, you already know, a 40 centimeter ball jointed doll I'm making. Her name is Elle. And this is what she looks like in her current state, although of course she'll be a little different by the time the pre-order rolls around, a little more sanded. So I actually had the idea for her, so you can see her full body, on the flight back from Tokyo. It's 14 hours, there's not much to do. I started sketching in my sketchbook. I've always been attracted to ball jointed doll companies. They're kind of doing something different. I used to be in love with Doll Chateau for dolls with spider bodies or architecture in them. And that's kind of where I got the idea for heart joints and ruffle joints. I wanted to incorporate those into a doll. And since then, it's been this year-long journey on Instagram of making her, and I couldn't be happier.
That's amazing. I also really love Doll Chateau for the same reasons. They really come up with really interesting stuff, and I can totally see that like uniqueness pulled through in your doll. So can you tell me a little bit about her and maybe her character, or like what you envisioned for her when you made her?
Yeah, for sure. So what I was actually thinking when I made her, I don't know, why everyone plays with dolls. I know everyone has their own reasons, but I've always thought that it's so nice that as an artist, I can make kind of a blank canvas for other people to make a character on. So like, I've put a lot of love and a lot of personality into her. I wanted her to be like this very cute, very sculptural, kind of a stylish, like a pop art sort of look to her body. I wanted to stray a little bit more from like the realistic look. But after that, I wanted to give her sort of flat, as you can see, like her knees are sort of flat to her body. And I didn't sculpt all these ridges into her face, so that kind of each individual person who owns her can decide who they want their Elle to become. I think that's the best part of dolls.
Totally. Can you tell us a little bit about the sizes she wears? You mentioned she's 40 centimeters tall, but she's got some interesting proportions. I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, so I actually, when I started making her, I designed her with kind of dressability in mind. I really wanted her to be someone who is easy to shop for, not like a doll that requires all this custom clothing, even though her proportions are definitely not the standard MST size. So her top actually fits, she's got a 13 centimeter bust, so it fits USD size tops, dresses, but also kind of fashion doll jackets. So my rainbow high jackets fit, like a little bit of modification. And I also bought a whole bunch of vintage Barbie and Ken tops. Those work great because their busts were kind of bigger back then. And her bottom is actually, she can wear MSD size pants with her smooth thighs, which is what she has here. Mm-hmm. As long as they're just a little baggy around the hips. So, joggers. I can't think of another type of baggy pants, but they're definitely out there. And her feet are actually, I don't know if you can see, her feet are kind of stylishly oversized. So they can fit standard MSD size shoes. I didn't want to pick mini feet sized MSD shoes just because they seem kind of hard to source in comparison. So that was behind the idea for the oversized shoes. And other than that, 14 millimeter eyes, and size 7 wig, so compatible with most other MSDs despite her unique shape.
Yeah, she has a really unique shape, but there are a lot of dolls that have a USD type upper body, so I think that can be worked with by a lot of people. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started sculpting her and what that process looked like?
Yeah, so I would like to sit up here, and pretend that this is the first doll I have ever sculpted, and it just came out great, and everybody loved it. But the truth is that, like many 12-year-olds who discovered ball jointed dolls for the first time, I did not have $100 to shell out. I barely had $20 to shell out. That's rent. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I started making them from a really young age. My first attempts were. A friend came over to my house and described one face I made as nightmare-inducing. I wanted my feelings to be hurt, but they weren't because she was correct. Yeah, objectively speaking, totally nightmare-inducing. And since then, I've made 7 or 8 dolls, and I feel like I've learned a lot with every single sculpt. And with this last sculpt, I decided that it would be I would commit to like putting it on Instagram. I wasn't expecting so many people to join me in making her, but I'm really happy with how she turned out.
Amazing, yeah. So I think a lot of people actually see artists make their first doll, and it's their first doll for sale, and they assume that they just have this like immediate talent at making dolls. No shade to your first doll, because I made my first doll as an adult, and it's a little nightmare inducing. So
much harder than it looks.
And so much more time spent sanding and then putting more clay and then sanding, and it's a ton of work. And I think if everybody who was wondering about how and why dolls cost what they do tried to even just make a head or hands, oof.
Lips? Goodness.
Oof. Yeah, I think immediately they'd be like, yeah, I'll shell out the $500, $600, $700 like, immediately. It's like, it makes total sense. So while you were making her, did you run into any issues? Was there anything that kind of was a hiccup that you had to kind of work through?
Yeah, no, definitely. I actually started off wanting to 3D print her. I really like the look of these like kind of new 3D printed dolls, like the ones made by like BJD. I think those have a really great look. It's just that, wow, digital sculpting, it takes a while to learn. I mean, even if you already have kind of real life clay sculpting skills, it is, while it's like an equal amount of sculpting, it's just an entirely different beast having to navigate, you know, keeping your meshes clean. And I had to assemble my printer. I remember there was a moment I was sitting in my apartment, assembling in 90-degree heat. My heater had just blown out. This 3D printer, it came completely unassembled in the box. I had a tiny wrench and I was screwing the pieces together just about all day with a fan blowing directly on me. And I thought, wow, this is ball jointed doll making, huh? There's just a lot of skills that I did not know I would need to learn. I think that was maybe the primary. To anyone who can digital sculpt, I respect you so much. That's a difficult skill to learn.
I get it. I'm not very good at sculpting, but I did actually, I opened up Blender once. And I was like, oh, I dented the rectangle they gave me as the default. Yay me. I don't know. I went in there thinking it's going to be like, oh, let me just take my little stylus and just bend it the way I want. I really thought that was what was going to happen, and that is not at all what it's like. It's so hard. So, if I'm not wrong, you started with a 3D print, and then you went over it with clay and added details, correct?
Yeah, I actually totally started with 3D sculpting. I really like how like absolutely perfect and how much you can like prototype the joints from a 3D sculpted doll. But I also, maybe I just lack the technical skill in 3D printing, but I also think that there's something really nice about the sort of asymmetrical, organic look of hand sculpting. I love them both. They both have their pros, their cons, and this is my attempt to kind of marry the best of both worlds.
Totally. What have you found, like, the community response, Instagram, Facebook, wherever all your platforms are, how do you feel like the community response has been to the doll?
So I feel so strongly about this one. Honestly, like from the bottom of my heart, I don't think that Elle would exist, and she certainly would not exist in her current form if it wasn't for everyone who follows me on Instagram, anyone who ever messaged me or left a comment. I started sculpting her just as a project for myself, and the first time I got a comment asking how much she would be, it blew me away. I was not expecting people to be interested at all, let alone as interested as they are. I've honestly printed out a couple really nice comments and messages, and I kind of keep them on my art wall because like they really, when you're in like the dregs of sanding and it's been like an hour or two, I mean, blue sanding gets tedious. It's really nice to look up and remember that like people really love your art and they're really excited for it. I honestly can't like thank my followers enough. I love them.
That's so sweet. I'm really happy to hear that. That's part of the reason I love being over on Instagram, for example, is just because you get to interact with the artists. That's actually how I found you, and I've been following Elle for a long time too, and it's been so great watching her kind of grow up, and it's so amazing that your pre-order is today, so I'm super excited. Can you tell us anything we need to know about the pre-order?
Yeah, so if we're gonna kind of my frequently asked questions. There are going to be 50 Elle dolls up for grabs, and the pre-order is going to last a month. So that's until, I think until April 15th. Yes. Or until all the units sell out. I'm still a pretty small artist, so I expect everyone who wants one to be able to get a chance in the pre-order. I do offer a layaway because I love layaways. So those are up to 5 months, is available on my website. It should be linked to, if you're looking for my website or Facebook, it should be linked to my Instagram link tree. Other than that, she's coming in 8 colors, so that's 4 natural colors. I tried to get the widest range of skin tones possible, and 3 fantasy colors, because who doesn't love like yellow, blue, and purple?
Yeah.
And outside of that, she has, she actually has 2 pairs of thighs. So these are her normal smooth thighs, but she also has, who's part of their half sanded state right now, these ruffled thighs, and both options will be available. You don't have to pick between them, so one will be available for extra cost.
Amazing. Can everybody here go check her out on Instagram? We'll put her tag right here.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, thank you again to all the people who follow me on Instagram, whoever commented something nice on my Facebook, even people who have just taken, like, pressed like and swipe past. I really appreciate all the time that takes. It really keeps me going.
And I want to take a second to say thank you for coming here and sharing your lovely doll. I'm so excited for your pre-order, and I'm sure my audience is too. If you're already subscribed to Elle over on Instagram, to MaddyBearDolls, amazing. If you haven't subscribed or followed her over on Instagram, you should go do that, because the updates are awesome, and I like staying in the loop, so I'm sure all of you guys do too. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day, and you have a fantastic pre-order. Bye!
Thanks so much.